Okay, hey guys, gonna do a tutorial on how to put on the bridle. Last week we watched some videos about saddling up a horse, so the next step would be how to put on the bridle. So what I like to do, if I have a horse tied up, I'll leave him tied up, or if I don't, Joker, he's pretty good. I'm not worried about him taking off on me. But I'm going to undo my halter and just slide it over his neck. Make sure that I'm using this rope halter, so I've got it tied up again. If you have a buckle halter, just buckle it around there. And then I've got my bridle hanging up on my saddle horn. And this bit is just a kind of a short shanked. It's got a little bit of a port to it. The port swivels in the middle. It's got a rounded bars on the mouthpiece. One ear headstall, so it just goes over his right ear. Okay. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my reins up and around his neck. Okay. And then I'm going to slide his nose through the bit. I want him to almost be looking through the bit, and I'm holding it with my left hand. I'm going to reach over the top. Now I've got it with my right hand. And then I'm going to spread my bit open, use my fingers, and I'm going to put my thumb right in the corner of his mouth. And I'm making sure that I'm kind of massaging his tongue a little bit, and I'm going in between his teeth, in between those molars and the bridle tooth. And there he opens up his mouth, and make sure that I don't force the bit in. But once he opens it up, I can just hold the bit up into his mouth using my right hand. Then I want to make sure I take the right ear. I'm going to push it forward, and then I pick up the left side of the headstall, push his ear forward, and then slide it back. I can take his forelock, pull that out. Then, now I've got with the bit, I can untie the halter. Don't need that anymore. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that this bridle fits him good. Now, what I'm looking at is I want to look in the corners of his mouth. His mouth should be pulled up just a little bit. I might want to see like one wrinkle, okay? But there shouldn't be a gap. So if I were to let this out, this is really floppy and loose. I can see in the corner of his mouth. He's kind of holding the bit up, but if you have a young horse, they'll let the bit fall down in their mouth too much, and it'll hit their front teeth, okay? Or they'll just sit there and they'll chew on it and try to spit it out, okay? If I tighten it up too tight, like I have it right now, I can look in the corner of his mouth. I can see a big wrinkle. He's really got the bit pulled up in his mouth too much. I can just tell. I can't really even get my fingers in when I try to turn him sideways. That's too tight. So there's usually a little bit of leeway. You can go a whole one of these holes on the headstall. You can either go one up or one down. I feel like for me, that's going to be pretty good for Joker. Okay, and get 2 fingers in here and turn them sideways. Also, I'm going to look at my curb chain, which is down here. And I want it to be just resting in this chin groove. Okay, shouldn't be below it, and it shouldn't be right up against his jaw. But I'm going to check it by picking up on the reins, and I want to see how far it goes before the chain makes contact with his chin. Okay, so I'm moving it about 2 or 3 inches. This is a short shanked bit. If you have a longer shanked bit, your bit is going to move a lot more on the bottom before your curb chain should make contact. I don't want the curb chain to be so tight that it's right against his jaw all the time, because that doesn't send him a signal. When I go to pick up on that reins, he should feel first a little bit of pressure pulling down on the headstall. Then the curb chain should make contact, and then the port of the bit, he'll feel it in the roof of his mouth. As I pull back, the port of the bit rotates forward and touches him on the roof of the mouth. So about right there, I can tell that the port is touching the roof of his mouth, that the chain is in contact, and I can feel that downward pressure on his pull. So those 3 things have to happen in order to give him a clear signal. If you do not have a curb chain, you will pull and pull and pull, and you won't really have any leverage on your horse, okay? You might be asking, well, why do we need leverage? And you honestly, you don't. But it makes it easier when riding one-handed. So if I'm always going to be riding two-handed, I can use a snaffle bit, and I have plenty of strength in my upper body to do anything I want to do with my horse with 2 hands. But with this type of a bit, this shanked bit, I have 1 inch above the bars, 2 inches below it, so that ratio is a 2 to 1. That means for every pound that I pick up on the reins, I'm applying 2 pounds of pressure to my horse. So I can ride with 1 hand and use the same amount of energy as I would riding 2 hands, okay? Also, with this type of a bit, we can learn to neck rein, or we can plow rein. And in about 2 videos here, I'm going to show you the difference between plow reining and neck reining. So that's it on putting on the bridle.